What's going on, world? It's me, Andre Catnot here from West Palm Beach, Florida. So I want to show you exactly how I use this pip juice indicator and how you can use it to avoid certain trades, avoid certain pending orders, and increase your chances of winning, or just knowing where you should be targeting, which TPs you should be selecting from this indicator. Now, before I get into this indicator and show you exactly how I use it, I have a gold bot. All right, I have a gold trading bot that's been doing amazing for me and my clients. And if you want access to the same exact gold bot, all you got to do is just message me on Instagram, message me on Telegram or whatever. The link will be in the description box below, and just let me know, hey Andre, I want access to the gold bot, and I'll go ahead and get you set up. But the gold bot is only a one-time fee of $1,000, or if $1,000 is too much up front for you, you can do two payments of $500, and you'll be able to get set up with the gold bot and make some profits. Because a lot of people are going with the two payment options. Because I got people making their $500 within their first week from using the bot. So really, it pays for itself. And yeah, so let's get into it. So right now, as you can see, this is the month of March. We're in the month of March right now. As you can see, all green days. All right. One thing about this gold bot is that you're going to see so many green days. All right. You're going to rarely, I'm not saying that you won't see any red days, but you're going to rarely see any red days when it comes to this gold trading bot. But you will lose a trade here and there, but for majority of the time, you're gonna see green days. Okay, so this is month so far. This past week we made about $700. Last week made about $1,500. The week before that made about $1,100 there. Now let's go back in February. Now February was a good month. All right, as you can see, you got one little small loss here. Like literally, that's like $1, right? Yeah, $1.40 right here. But as you can see, all green days. All right, all green days here. Okay. Now, that was February. Then the month of January, as you can see, was a great month. So the gold bot has been going on so far 3 months. So far for 3 months, but this has been going on since 2 years. I've been running this gold bot for the last 2 years. So this is not something new. All right, that we're starting this year. This has been going on for two years now, and it's been very, very, very consistent and very, very accurate. Okay, when it comes to the trades that it's taking, it's winning. Like if I scroll up, it's winning like 92% of the trades that it takes. All right, so that's a high win rate. 92%. It's a high, very, 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 very high win rate. But like I said, guys, if you want access to something that can trade for you automatically, hands free, it's only a one-time fee of $1,000. $1,000 is too much up front for you, then it's you can do two payments of $500. After you make the first payment, I'll go ahead and get you set up with the bot so you can start generating some profits, and then you'll just pay the other $500 a month later, and then you'll have full access to this gold bot right here that's been doing super amazing. Okay, but enough of that. Let's get back to the charts. I want to show you exactly how I use pip juice. Okay, now the way I like I said, when it comes to this pip juice indicator, right? You can just set up the pending orders where it tells you to place those pending orders, and you'll be just fine. But what I notice, like when on some days, right? On some days, like to avoid some losses, I have different zones in place. I use different indicators and tools to determine if I want to get in that pending order based on what the indicator is telling me. Okay, so like I said, you don't have to do what I do, but if you do what I do, you avoid certain losses. You avoid getting into the wrong pending orders, or not only that, you'll know where you should be targeting, where you should be putting your TP at, your stop loss at, etc. And that's what I do to go the extra mile to increase my chances of winning the trade based on this indicator. So what I like to do is, all right, I like to trade either depending on what asset I'm trading. In this case, in this example, I'm going to show you exactly how I'm trading German 30, which is also known as DAX. But it also depends on what asset and what session you're trading in. Because when it comes to this indicator on Pip Juice, if I bring it up here, you're able to have this on an Asian, London, and New York. I like to use the London and the New York session, and when it comes to using this indicator. So since I'm trading German 30, and German 30, when it comes to the London session, I want to select the London session in the settings of this indicator, okay? Because I'm trading the London session. If I'm trading in the New York session, then I want to go ahead and switch it over to New York session, okay, etc. And if I'm trading the Asian session, you just switch it over to the Asian session, okay? But in this case, we're trading German. I like to trade German 30 in London session. Sometimes I also trade it in the U.S. session as well. But this is the indices that I like to trade, okay? So first thing first, and also let me tell you what indicators that I'm using. So the indicators that I really focus on is, I know I got a lot of indicators here, but the main ones that I like to focus on is Pip Juice, of course. This one called ASFX free. It's a free automatic VWAP. It gives you key levels and different VWAPs on the chart. You don't have to use this, but I like to use them. And then also I use this indicator. Well, this is a paid indicator right here, I think. So I don't think you'll be able to get this. But basically where my mouse is at, this is called Shisha Traders. Basically all I use this for is just basically to tell me what session I'm in. Okay. And matter of fact, I'll explain that right now. So like, let me also take this let me take this Pip Juice. And you don't have to use this Shisha Traders AIO. You don't have to use that, because what you could do is you can just do this manually. So like as you can see these boxes, I don't know if you see these boxes, but right here is the US session. So I usually make that orange. I have the US session starting in from 8 a.m. to about 5 p.m. 1 p.m. because the US session, when it comes to this indicator, it has two sessions. It has the AM session, and then it has the PM session. Okay, so this red little box right here is the PM session. Okay, I'll make that red for you. So you got the AM session of the US session, and you have the PM session of the US session. Okay, now the London session, which I like to trade German 30 on, I'll go ahead and make this box blue. All right, and I forgot to tell you too, the US session starts from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then the PM session of the US session starts from 1 a.m. to 5 p.m. Okay, and then I have the London session. Even though the London session starts at 3 a.m., I have the London box starting from midnight. So midnight to about 7 p.m. 7 a.m. Okay, and then the Asian session, I have, this is the little yellow box right here. This is the Asian session here. I'll make that yellow. You have that, I think 5 or 6 to, midnight. Okay. So these are the boxes, these boxes that you see on my chart. All there is just telling you what session you're in. Okay. So I just want to make that clear. You don't have to use this indicator to tell you, or there's free indicators that tell you what type of session you're in, but some of them might be different. But like I said, the ones that I use when it comes to the London session, it starts at midnight. Okay, midnight to 7 a.m. And then I have the U.S. session starting from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then the PM session of the U.S. session starts at 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Okay, hope that makes sense. Okay, just wanted to make that clear. You don't have to use indicators. You can just box out these sessions yourself. Okay, all you got to do is look at the bottom and see what time it is, and box them, mark up your sessions accordingly. Okay, so I just wanted to show you what this indicator is. Okay, so if I turn it off, you'll see that all those boxes come off the chart. But if I put them back on, it'll put those boxes back on the chart. It just tells me what session I'm in. Okay, all right. Now, what I like to do is I like to look for session sweeps. Okay, and that's the first thing I'm gonna talk about. I like to use session sweeps. Okay, whenever I see a session sweep or a session sweep, this tells me that there's a reversal about to happen. All right, and you can also call this a liquidity sweep, a session liquidity sweep as well. But again, I'll mark this out again. This is the London session zone box here. Whenever price sweeps the previous session, which in this case, the London session swept the Asian session, all right? Over here is the Asian session. It swept the Asian session, right? When that happens, I know that majority of the time that price is bound to start reversing from there. Okay? So again, let me mark this out for you. Over here is the Asian session. This little box is right here. I'll make it yellow again. Right? And as you can see, the London session box swept, right? It swept, right? This right here swept above the Asian session. So when that happens, there's most likely a reversal bound to happen. Okay, doesn't happen all the time, but it's majority of the time when that happens, you can start seeing a reversal to the opposite side. So if it's going up and it's swept above Asian session, then expect it has a higher chance of reversing. Okay, and the same thing for the bottom. Like if it's swept below it, then expect a reversal. Okay, now that's what I look for. Okay, but I want to show you another little indicator that I like to use. All right, I like to use what is called the SVP. You can look this up right here. You can type in SVP, and it's called the session volume profile. Okay, it's called the session volume profile. All right, when you have that on your chart, this will pop up. Now, if you want to see my settings when it comes to this, all I use this tool for is just to mark out my key levels, like the point of control, the value area high, the value area low, and I'm gonna show you exactly how I use it. So normally I like to use this. Let me take this off. Normally, right, I like to go to a 30-minute chart, okay, and then I like to turn this indicator on, all right, and I like to look for the previous day's point of control, value area high, value area low, okay. And if you want to see the settings of this indicator, all right, this is how I have it. Okay. And for style, I like to make sure you check the box value area. VAH stands for value area high. VAL stands for value area low. POC stands for point of control. Point of control is just basically the area where the most volume and the most trading volume has occurred for that day. Okay. Now, mark up. You can have this any color you want. I have the POCs yellow. I have the value area low red, and then value area high green. Okay, so if you want to take a screenshot or pause this video, these are my settings. All right, when it comes to this indicator, this is a free indicator, by the way. And you'll see on the chart right here that the green little dotted line right here is the value area low. So what I usually do is, let me put this up here. So in this case, right, the market is closed, so I know that this day right here, when the market opens up, this is going to be the previous day. I like to use the previous day. So if let's say that this section right here is the new trading day, I want to mark up the key levels, right? I want to find the key over here. Where you see where my mouse is at? I just want to make sure that you see this. So if this is the new day over here, I'm looking for the previous day's key level. So this green level right here, this green line from this volume profile, I'm gonna level my volume area high level right there on top of that green. And then down here, I'm gonna put my POC, this yellow dotted line right here is the POC, stands for point of control. It means the most trading volume taking place for that day. I'll just mark that. All I'm doing is just using this indicator to mark up my key levels, okay? And as you can see, I just put it over that POC. Now, I'm going to take my value area low, which is this red dotted line here, and put it right over this low right here, where this red line right here, that's the value area low. And then what I do from there, I turn that indicator off, because I don't want a whole bunch of noise on my chart. Okay, I don't want a whole bunch of noise on my chart, so I just take it off. I just mark out these key levels. All I'm doing is just using this indicator to find the value area low, the point of control, and the volume area high, the point of control, and the volume area low. That's all I do, and just turn it off. Okay, but let me go ahead and put this turn this back on, because I want to put this back where I had it at. So again, the markets is closed, right? This is Friday, so whenever the market opens up, I know that this day right here is going to be the previous day. So I'm going to mark up. I'm going to put my value area low right there where that red line at, and then I'm gonna take my POC, right, this line right here, and put it right over that yellow line there, and then take my value area high, right, and put it right there over the value area high, and that's it. And like I said, I just turn it off, right? That's what I usually do. That's I still do it, but that's what I usually do when I want to just trade regularly. But when I want to use when I want to trade the pip juice indicator, this is what I do. I go to 5 minute, go to the 5 minute, and this is gonna blow your mind. This is gonna really, really blow your mind. You're gonna be like, wow, this can help me avoid certain pending orders. It can help me target certain TPs. It's gonna literally, it's gonna help you out. All right, so now let me get this off the chart. So now what I like to do is, since I'm trading London, let me make sure that pip juice is on London. Okay, we are on London. Okay. So what I like to do is, I like to, on the 5 minute chart, I like to turn on the volume profile. And then whenever, I'll take this off 1 second. Whenever I know that midnight is about to happen, right? Whenever midnight or London session is about to happen, what I like to do is I like to wait for the session sweep, right? Wait for price to sweep above or below the previous session, right? What I like to do is when the London session opens up, when midnight hits, I like to turn this indicator on, and I like to look in the past, right? I like to look in the past and see what zones that I can use off of previous point of control. And I like to use these key levels, right? The point of control, or the volume area low, or the point of control, or the value area high. So what I like to do is I like to turn these into zones. So as you see, I'm starting a zone from a previous day. I like to, figure out where price might come into, and I like to turn these into zones. So what I did was I turned the POC and the value area low into a zone. Let me just make that blue. All right, and then I like to drag it, right? I like to drag it here. Okay. And if you got to, watch this video, rewatch this video over and over. But as you can see, right, where were we? Yeah, right here. We was right here. So all I did was I just scrolled back I went back in the past and see what zones that I can create based on previous point of controls and value area lows and value area highs, and turn it into a zone, because price likes to come back into these key levels. All right, but I like to turn these key levels into zones, basically. So once I mark up my zone, because remember, I like to wait for whenever the market opens up at 12 a.m., I like to see where price could potentially reach up to before starting to reverse. So basically, I know that price, when price sweeps above or below the previous session, I know that price likes to start reversing. All right, once that happens. So I want to see what area where it could start reversing. All the zone that I'm drawing right now is all I'm using it is to show me where price could potentially start reversing from. Okay, that's all I'm doing. And once I draw the zone, I turn it off. All right, I turn it off, and now I have my zone here. Okay, so when price comes into the zone, that this gives me a higher chance that we already see the session sweep. Price is above the previous session, right? So that that tells me, number one, that price might start reversing. Okay. And by having this zone tells me that this could be the area where it could start reversing. Okay, so sometimes you can get in a trade too early. Okay, so this helps me from getting into a trade too early. But I want to show you guys exactly how to use it with pip juice. Normally, what I do is I like to get in on the reversal. But let's go ahead and turn this indicator on. So when I turn this indicator on, and by the way, you could have also one right here, base right here. But what I like to see is once I see price is going is below this zone, usually I like to take this trade directly to the zone. Whenever the zone is above these levels, all right, I like to take a trade because I know that price likes to come to these levels. These levels, these zones, price likes to come back into them. So it's kind of like magnets, okay? So I probably would have took this trade here, and I would have went. You can like go. We could go for TP3. So like right here, buy stop entry, boom, and then I'd put my stop somewhere there, and then you would have want that trade right there. All right, based on the indicator. Okay. So, what I also like to do is, and I know this is not a part of Pip Juice, but what I like to do is once price come into the zone, I like to take the trade for the reversal. So what I usually do is I take the rectangle tool here and draw up a bullish fair value gap here, and then once price closes below it, I like to go ahead and take the trade to the downside for the reversal. Okay, put my stop right above that, and then I could have just take the trade to the downside for an easy win. But this video is about Pip Juice, so we'll just keep it about Pip Juice. So we would want that trade right there, okay? And when the zone is above, like if price hasn't reached the zone yet, and this is how I know when to target TP3. When price is right below the zone, and TP3 is above, then I usually go ahead and target TP3 because I know that price hasn't reached the zone yet. So, that can tell me, okay, price most likely will hit TP3 because it hasn't reached the zone yet. But I'm gonna show you some more examples, okay? So let me take this zone off, okay? Now, let's go back in the past here. Let's take a look at this level right here. So this is if you were trading the New York session. So what I would do is, let me see. What I would do is, let me take the indicator and turn it. Since we're going to be trading the New York session, we're going to change it to New York. First thing first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on this indicator, the SVP, the session volume profile indicator. I'm going to turn that on. If I know that I'm going to be trading, if I'm going to be trading in the US session, I want to look where the US, and by the way, this right here area right here is the US, the AM session of the US session. Okay. So when it comes to 8 o'clock, once 8 o'clock hits, all right, I know wherever price opens up at, I want to look for, because again, my strategy is I like to look for the session sweep. I like to see price sweeps. I like to see the current session sweep the previous session. So in this case, this blue box right here is the London session, and this box right here is the US session. So I like to see price, the current session that I'm looking to trade in, sweep above or below the previous session. In this case, the US session swept below the London session. So this is a session sweep. This is a session liquidity sweep. I like to see that. And then once that happens, price likes to start reversing and going the other way. Okay. That's how I like to trade. I like to see those type of things happen first. Okay. So let me take this off the chart. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the session volume profile. And then if I know that price is going to sweep below the previous session, which is the London session, I'm going to look in the past, right? I'm going to see if I can find something in the past where, let me see if I can. I got a small screen here. So normally, okay, so we don't see anything in the past. So normally, don't worry, I'm gonna find you guys a better example of what I'm talking about here. Where is the market's at? Okay, right here. I'm gonna find you a better example, but let's turn on the indicator and see the Pip Juice indicator and see where this is at. This is on the US session. So I have also zones here too as well. So literally you could have probably just took this for TP1. Normally, if I don't see anything in the past or any areas, I just go ahead and just target TP1. But let me find you a better example, okay? Let me turn this off again. So I want to make this very, very clear. Let me also turn this Pip Juice indicator off right here. Okay. Let me see if I can find you guys a better example. Okay, this might be a really good example right here. So again, the yellow box right here is the Asian session. I'm gonna make that yellow, and then the London session, I'm gonna make that blue. Okay. Now, when I see right a session sweep, that this tells me that price, once price reach a certain level, right, price then might start reversing to the downside. Okay. So let me delete this real quick. So again, what I'm gonna do is, when I know that midnight is about to happen, I'm gonna turn on my indicator, and then I'm gonna turn on this SVP indicator on, and then I'm gonna look in the past and see what area price can start rejecting from. So right now, I already see what areas that price could start rejecting from. So I like to use these key levels. All right. Remember, the red line from the indicator stands for value area low. The the green line stands for value area high. These are from previous days. And then the yellow dotted line right here stands for the POC, which is point of control, which is the most traded volume. So what I like to do is I like to use these key levels to make zones, turn them into zones. All right. So I like to do it like this. And then I like to drag them in place where I know price can start rejecting from. And as you can see here, price came up to this zone, this area, and start coming down. Okay. This is powerful, guys, because when you do this, you can kind of see where price might have problems continue to the upside. In this case, continue to the upside. Like, price likes to come into these levels and start rejecting those levels or break and retest these levels. But let's turn on pip juice again. So in this case, price almost came. So in this case, I wouldn't even if the buy stop level was here, I would never set that pending order, because I know that price is already at this zone. So I know that price could tap into this buy stop entry and then took me out. I would have lost the trade. So like if the buy stop entry was down here where my mouse is at, right? I wouldn't even set a pending order there, because I know that there's a high chance that price will reject this zone. So I don't want to get in a buy, and I know that price will start reversing. Okay, especially if you know that price. Let me turn this. I'm gonna turn this off again. Especially if you know that price swept liquidity of the previous session, right? Because remember, right? Remember, when price sweeps above or below, in this case, the London session swept above the Asian session, that tells me that there's a reversal about to happen. Okay? So especially if you see that, and you see that there's when it comes to the pip juice indicator, that there's a buy stop right here, I wouldn't even set the pending order there, because I know that when stuff like this happens, whenever the current session sweeps above or below the previous session, there's a reversal going to happen. So I probably, if the buy stop entry was here, I probably would have avoided a loss, if that makes sense. Okay, so now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to instead of setting up the buy stop entry pending order, I'm going to go for the sell stop entry key level here. And I would have won that trade. I would have won that trade. All right, I could have this day I would have targeted the TP3. Okay? You see how I'm avoiding certain trades or avoiding certain pending orders? This is how I'm doing it. I'm turning these key levels from this session volume profile into zones, and I'm waiting for price to sweep above or below, and I'm waiting for price to hit those levels first to determine if I should get in that pending order. Okay, it's just going the extra mile. Like I said, You can like just set the pending orders as you please. Just set up the buy stop pending order and the sell stop pending order as you you would, and just keep it simple. But if you want to go the extra mile, knowing where certain key levels are at can help you avoid certain pending setting certain pending orders. Okay, and then like I said too as well for hopefully we'll show you some more examples when price are below, like let's say that price, if this zone wasn't here and price was below here, and the zone, let's say that the zone was up here, right? Then I would have I would have set the buy stop, and then I would have target, that key level there. Okay, but we'll see if we can show you. Let's see if we can find some more examples. But this is a great example right here, right? This is a great example, and then like literally this thing just dropped. That for that day, that dropped like that. Simple. All right. So let's go ahead and turn this indicator off again. Let's go over here. Now I like to trade. In the London session. So let me turn this back into the London session. But sometimes you can catch some good moves. It doesn't matter, to be honest with you. This works in New York session too. But I like to trade German 30 in the London session. Now, look at this right here. Remember, this yellow box that you're seeing on my screen is the Asian session. And then right here is the London session. Okay? Remember, whenever the current session, in this case, the London session swept below the previous session, which was Asian session. Okay, so that tells me right there. That tells me once price swept below the previous session, which was the Asian session, that tells me that there's a reversal most likely to happen. Okay, so this is a session liquidity sweep. All right, you can also call it that as well. So once that happened, right? But what I like to do is before, like whenever midnight hits, what I like to do is I like to look for potential session sweep. So if price is opening up here and then price is going down, so I want to look for an area where price might struggle or where price might start reversing from based on that session sweep. So I would turn this level on, turn the volume indicator on, and then I would look in the past. All right. In this case, right down here we have the POC and we have the value area low, this red line here. And then I like to turn that into a zone. I like to turn those into a zone. And as you can see, all right, and I'm also turn this off. Once I mark up my zone, I'm gonna turn this indicator off. Right? Once I see that, when it comes to my regular strategy, I like for example, I know this is about pip juice, but again, when it comes to my regular strategy, I like to look for a bearish fair value gap. And then I like to wait for that bearish fair value gap to be broken, which would turn it into a inversion fair value gap. And what I normally do is once price closes above that, right, I like to take the trade to the upside for the reversal. That's my reversal strategy. But we're talking about pip juice, okay? So let's turn on our pip juice indicator on. And in this case, right, since I know that down here, right, this area right here is the zone that I got from the indicator, the session value profile indicator. Since I know that the zone right is down here, then when it comes to me using pip juice, then I would go ahead and went ahead and set up a sell pending order. All right, it just gives me a higher chance of winning this pending order, because I know that price likes to come into these key levels that, like, especially like the zone that you're seeing right here, this blue zone down here. I know that price likes to come to those key levels, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and set my pending order from here, right? And I would target TP3. Boom. You see that, right? You see how powerful this is? Like, if the zone is way below, right? Way below the sell stop TP3, then I'm going to go ahead and target TP3, because price likes to come into these zones first before it start reversing. So this basically just gives me a high chance of winning this trade based on this pip juice. I know that price wants to come into this level. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up the pending order for the sell stop and win that and target the TP3. Because I know TP3 is way before the zone right here. So I might as well go ahead and target TP3 because price hasn't reached this zone yet. So it's an easy win right there. Okay. So that's how I really use pip juice. I like to use the zones that I mark up from the session volume profile to see where price could potentially go to, and then if the pip juice line with what I'm going for, and I just go ahead and set up the pending order. I set up the pending order. All right. I'm gonna show you guys one more example, and I'm gonna go ahead and end this. I'm gonna just probably create some part 2 to show you guys some more examples so you guys can understand. So this is gonna be part 1. Now, okay, here's another example here. Let's go ahead and take pip juice off. This is gonna be the last example, and I hope you guys are getting some value. If you guys are getting some value, make sure you let me know in the comment section. Again, if you guys want something automated, you don't have time to go on the charts all day, or you don't have time to trade, but you still want to make money in the financial markets, all you got to do is let me know in the comments, not in the comment section, but click the link in the description box below and just message me on Telegram or Instagram and let me know, hey, Andre, I want access to this gold buy. This gold buy has been doing amazing, guys. Amazing. All right. Amazing. Okay. So if you want something automated, this is something that can help you make some automated income. But back to the charts. Okay. So now this is a small sweep right here. Let's see. Let's turn on our, so whenever 12 o'clock comes, whenever midnight comes, right, what I like to do is I like to turn on this SVP indicator on, and I like to look for areas where price could reject. So right now I see that by taking this value area low, this red line here, and bringing it down to this POC, which is the point of control, and dragging it, right, I know that price can come into this level, right, and start rejecting, and which it did. So you see like how powerful these zones that I'm creating off of this indicator, off of these key levels from this indicator, that price likes to come into these levels. It's like magnets and reject these levels. But so I have my zone. I'm gonna go ahead and take, again, I don't leave this on my chart. I just take it off. I just mark up the zone and leave that off. And then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and turn on the pip juice indicator. All right. Now, I wouldn't even, like me personally, I wouldn't even set a pending order at this level. I wouldn't even set a buy stop pending order. I wouldn't even do this right here. I wouldn't even do that, right? What I would do is, since I know that there's a zone right here, right? And since I know that price could, remember, whenever the current session sweeps above or below the current session, the previous session, right? Then that tells you right there that price can start reversing. All right. And so it might be a session liquidity sweep, but price came above the previous session, which was the Asian session. So that's a liquidity session sweep there. Okay. Once I see that happens, right, I know that there's a reversal bound to happen. All right. I know that there's a reversal bound to happen. So once I see that, right, let's turn on the pip juice back on. I wouldn't even say, if the buy stop entry was up here above this zone that I created, right? I wouldn't even place that buy stop entry. I wouldn't even mess around with it. All right. But what I would have set up a sell stop entry, and we probably would have won this one here. So boom. And just like that, whenever price get to that level, in this case, I would have target, right there, you would have won that trade. So this is how, like I said, this is how I avoid certain pending orders. This is how I avoid placing certain pending orders. If I know that price, if I know that the pip juice indicator buy stop entry was above this zone here, I'm not even going to place that, because I know that price can come in here and start reversing. All right. Because imagine if the buy stop entry was right here at this sell stop. Well, imagine, right? Imagine that price, the buy stop entry would have been right here, and you had your pending order set right there, right? And you was going for TP2 or TP3 or even TP1. You would have lost this trade. You would have lost this trade. So by you setting up, by you marking up your zones, right, from this indicator, right? And remember, how did I get that? All I did was is I used these key levels to turn it into certain areas. So basically all I did was I took this red line right here as a start, and then I brought it down to this yellow dotted line and turn it into a zone. Because I know that price likes to come into these levels and reject these levels. Okay. Hope that makes sense, guys. This is like powerful stuff, but I'm gonna make part 2. I'm gonna show you guys some more examples. I'm gonna leave the link to part 2 in the description box below if you want to see some more examples. But I don't want to make this video here too long. So if you got value, make sure you let me know in the comment section. But also, if you want access to this gold bot, like I said, it's only a one-time fee of $1,000. If $1,000 is too much up front for you, I can allow you to do 2 payments of $500, and you can just pay the $500 for the first month. I'll set you up with the bot, and then you only pay the $500 the following month, and you have full access to the gold bot. But with that being said, I'm Andre Ketna here from West Palm Beach, Florida. I will see you guys on the internet. Take care, y'all.